So I just want to share you my mind meanderings because it just feels that everywhere I've been in the past few moments just feels really profound. And I just want to, I'm collecting freedom questions, the questions that bring you to this place of feeling free and also connected with that love and that wisdom that feels like freedom. So these are all really interrelated concepts, right? And and just feelings and just parts of being. And so actually I'll turn that down. Sorry, I'm going through my moon moment. I love being a woman, and sometimes you got to get a little scruffy. Um so anyway, I if I were to narrow it down to like the one thing that drives me in life, what is the one thing that feels the most important thing? It is to feel the purest love and wisdom that I could possibly feel. And I didn't quite realize that that was my driving force until maybe about a few years ago. And before that, I would say it was probably travel. I was 18 when I first started traveling, and I went to Peru. And there was something about being in another culture where the people are vastly different from you. I mean, what they eat, how they dress, their different traditions, they're so different. And yet there's something that feels that it connects us all. And then there's also the aspect of me where both of my parents were ordained ministers. They met in while they were getting their masters in divinity. So there was something about the spiritual path, this feeling of being close to God. And God always felt that whatever God is, whether it's a he or a she or a they or a whatever, it just felt so awkward to put God in a box. And so, on the one hand, there's this immense value for to know God and to feel God. And then there was this other value to know the world and to feel the world. And it felt almost as though these were opposing forces because even that quote, to be in the world but not of the world. What is the world? Is the world God? And then you look around and you see all the stuff that's happening, that people are killing other people are stealing from other people and covering it up as politics, or there's just some really weird things happening. And I kind of felt like an alien for a long time because I felt that so many people were interested in talking about things that weren't really that important to me, or doing things that felt kind of a little bit messed up or something. And anyway, so there's this feeling of, also, we're all gonna die, and what is life? What is this thing that we're doing, and who are we? And so all of these questions, right? I love philosophy class growing up in middle school, high school, then going on to college. I loved talking about really deep things and feeling it in my head. And then I took mushrooms, and instead of feeling things, instead of thinking about things, excuse me, instead of, sorry, right? I don't know. Words are so interesting. I just start talking, and sometimes the difference between, also, let's put a bookmark in this, the difference between just speaking from the heart and then my mind gets involved, or I try to say something from some sort of other, there's some other like pulling, can you feel when you're just being you, right? If you're with, all right, let's say if you're with your best friend, not only best friend that you say to other people, this is my best friend, but a person that lights you up. And maybe that might actually be an ex, or maybe that might be someone that you met 8 years ago. But just think of a person that lights you up and makes you just so freaking excited to. Okay, yeah, this is a really great way to phrase it. The person that makes you the most excited to be alive in one day. Because if you say just most excited in general, that feels too vague. But if you make it more specific, what is, okay, even more specific, what is the best day you've ever had in your life? And who was there? Or who co created that with you? Okay, I'm going on 8 million tangents right now. So, anyway, back to like, and also in America, I feel I'm around a lot of people now, and I see the way we use filler words like. And I remember my ex in India, who I might talk about more and more because this man was, anyway, my ex in India, let's call him for now. He used to say, I talked like a valley girl, like. And he was the first one who opened me up to this world of not using filler words. And now the way that I relate to it is that a filler word is instead of letting yourself pause. And so in interdimensional creators, we talk about fractals, tracing. So there's a behavior and you can trace it back to some sort of source. And for me, that filler word, when we say like, kind of, or any word, instead of just talking in a more, and you'll see this in, for example, on the TV shows, in the movies, people who are really well respected or who are very, also just, if they have worked on themselves in an intellectual capacity, people don't use filler words so much. And, or, okay, I'm sidetracking again. The important piece is here that I believe filler words can be a moment where you're not allowing yourself to feel peace and stillness. And I feel that a lot of why I do not connect with America, which is very general, it's a very, very general statement because I love America, but I also, there's a part of American culture that feels that we need to go. And actually, slowing down is almost a sign of laziness, or it's just not okay. And that's one of the things I love the most about Asia when I was in India and Thailand, was this feeling that there was permission to slow down. Not only permission, but it was almost people really enjoyed stillness in conversation, and in, because there's conversation, the surface, there's how much of what we communicate is actually verbal. There's the conversation that you have, and then there's the way that we interpret it, and then there's the nonverbal implications and the energy. And we're communicating so much. And so going back to why am I doing that? Going back to the original piece, right? Which is, what is the question that I feel is the most important? What is the most important thing that you need to know about me? Is that everything that I'm doing is for what I feel is the evolution of humankind. And I'm not trying to be some sort of hero. I'm not trying to be some sort of savior. I love the quote of, you're not Don't try to be a savior, just try and save yourself. Something like this, right? I mean, this is actually a quote from one of my friends' bands. I don't know if they actually made it up, but The Morning Sun and the Essentials. I love this band. And that's a line from their song. Don't try to be a savior. It's time to save yourself. So, bringing this full circle, I traveled the world, right? Oh, wait, backing up. So, I was super interested in what God really is. And so I was searching intellectually, blah, blah. And then I realized when I took mushrooms that God is not. Am I allowed to say that? I had a psychedelic experience, let's say. I don't need to give too much context. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to cut this. I want to be raw and real, guys. I took mushrooms, okay? In college, I took mushrooms. If I go to jail for that, I don't know. People talk about this all the time. Boom. There is no such thing as jail. That's a big statement. I don't know if I back that up fully. Okay, I'm really rambling here. Did I already say this? I'm in woman mode. It's my moon moment. So I'm just a little scruffy and I'm just sharing something really raw and really real. So, guys, the world feels so difficult right now for so many of us. I don't even know. Sometimes, I want to post about something or I see other people posting on Instagram about how we're moving forward, just kind of speaking out over the injustices and all this stuff. And I've just chosen to not get involved in the politics and what other countries are doing right now, at least, and to focus on just being the best person that I can be, period. And it's because I don't actually know I don't know. I'm not a politician. And this is just where I'm at right now because I can feel all the different opinions of, I want to eventually get involved in this and eventually find my place and find my way to speak about this. But at the core of who I am, I believe that if I can be the best version of myself and then be that in my community around people who also have that value, because I learn so much from people. I love people. I love, 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 love people, period. Full stop. Full stop. Sorry, there's something in the window that was distracting me. I love people. And so there's this feeling, right? When I was 18 years old, before I went to college, I started traveling and I started to feel this connection with people. And then I wanted to feel and explore the world and God, right? So going back to there. And then I took mushrooms, and instead of feeling everything intellectually, thinking about everything and just being in that intellectual space of what is God, let's think about it, let's talk about it. In that moment, I could feel it. It just kind of descended of this feeling of what connects us all. And then I was so curious, how do I feel this with a substance? And it's natural. It's mushrooms. It's something that is so actually, when I was 5 years old, I accidentally ate a mushroom in my backyard and had to be taken to the hospital because they were like, honey, you can't eat that mushroom. That was poison. And I didn't know. It looked like what my dad made me for dinner, So anyway, it's so interesting how something natural is illegal. It's just weird to me because that is literally something that God has given you, whatever God or nature, let's say, in this context. Nature is just saying, here, have this. And it's up to us to discern what is poison and what's not poison. And alcohol is poison, and it actually poisons you. You can die from alcohol poisoning. And yet that is legal and mushrooms aren't. I really just, there's this weird thing. There's this cord, some kind of cord. Anyway, I'm getting really passionate about this, right? And then, so then I was traveling the world, and traveling in my consciousness with mushrooms. That was a very inner world, right? It's the imagination is, and just what you can feel and see and just experience such a different thing. And then I realized, you can look externally for the most amazing thing. If I'm going to say my goal in life, right, which I had said before, the deepest core desire is to feel the most pure love and the most pure wisdom that I can. So that is my core desire. And then let's say, in order to feel that, right, what does that mean? You'd need other people. Because if I didn't grow up, if I just was born and then left in the wilderness, what kind of love and wisdom would I experience? It would be very different. And I don't know, I would probably have animals as my guides or trees. And so I would feel and look very different. I mean, people who grow up without other people have this feral, primal thing about them, right? And I don't think we have many studies of that, of people growing up with zero contact with any other person, right? So you do not, I'm not talking about indigenous tribes, because they exist in a tribal society, right? And then in a tribal society that lives with nature, that looks so different from a society that lives with technology in the modern age, right? Whatever that even means. So anyway, if I'm going to experience pure love and pure wisdom, in some way, I'm using love and wisdom in a context that has been given to me by my society. What is love? What is wisdom? What is important? Wisdom is like a reflection of what is important and what is written in texts and what I've received. All the information that I've received my whole life will help me determine what wisdom even is, right? What love even is. So, if you're going to, so my ultimate desire in life, my ultimate motivating driving factor is to experience pure love and pure wisdom, which I guess that means I would need someone to put it on, or my family, or a community, because how would you experience pure love and pure wisdom without that? And then now I'm thinking, maybe a few years ago I decided, instead of traveling the world and experiencing so many things externally, I got more interested in going internal. So what I just said was this mindset that I had before, okay? I'm speaking as though things are really true and they feel really true, and it is one perspective, and my perspective has changed over time. So even everything that I'm saying in this video could become obsolete next year. The point is that I'm evolving in my own feeling of pure love and pure wisdom, right? And because I've been able to travel the world and talk to so many different people, how many different people? Probably tens of thousands, if not, I don't think I talked to 1 million people. I wonder, I could probably ask ChatGPT, what has the average person, how many people have they interacted with? How would you even calculate that? Anyway, so what became interesting to me is to experience pure love and pure wisdom for myself, from myself. And then because I've experienced it within me, be able to then reflect that outwards. So the archetypes have become so interesting. And just as of now, I have never formally studied archetypes. And I do not believe that I need to, because this is and this is another thing, that who I am and what I offer comes from my lived experience. What is a certification? I'm not gonna go down that road, because that's a very whole different argument and a whole different bone to pick. Where's that? Bone to pick. What an interesting idiom. Is that an idiom? Okay. Moon moment. What even is a woman? A woman is such a unique force of energy. Where am I going with this? Um, I wonder if this is going to be interesting to anybody. I'll probably watch this again. So, I. Okay, let's see. We can just take a theme. It's Valentine's Day, right? And I'm loving myself, and I'm by loving myself. Oh, archetypes. That's where we are. So, archetypes, which I've never formally studied, but I am a human being. And so, this makes me. And if you were to really see my work and feel my work, you would understand that I'm not trying to teach archetypes as a concept, as some sort of intellectual, logical thing. A lot of my work is very experiential, very felt, very intuitive, very natural. And I want people to feel the archetypes for themselves from their own experience. So much of our world is coming from some like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. What Okay, how do I even say this? Because what I would love to say is you are enough. You have all of the knowledge and all of what you need within you. And that can be some kind of floofy spiritual thing that we say, but how do we live that? And how do we actually believe that on a deep level? And part of interdimensional creators is really, and I feel that some people are going to look at what I'm doing and be like, "What? How how do you think that you have any authority to speak about these things?" And I'm going to say to them, "How do you have any authority to tell me what I can and cannot, like, I don't know. How do I why are we going around pointing fingers at people? What I'm doing is not pointing the finger at anyone. It is ultimately getting you to point the finger back towards yourself, right? I point one finger at you, but three are back to me, right? Why do we need to go around judging everyone? Why do we even do that? People who do that are actually extremely judgmental of themselves. People who are going to look at me and say, "Whoa, you need more to be able to do something like this." They believe that they're not good enough. And I'm going to stand by that, for the majority of people. Maybe there are some exceptions to the rule, but I would just challenge. And this is a huge part of my life, is challenging. This rebellious side of me is, I don't know how I got this super rebellious streak of just, wait, is what you're saying true? Wait, I'm going to try and figure that out for myself. There's this part of me who just wants to figure things out by myself and to feel it for myself. And I love that about myself. Anyway, so this is just going to be a late night musing, but I feel for some people, and even if this is only for me, right? I feel like it helps me to understand who I am. What I want is for us to be more integrated human beings. I want people to act with more integrity. I want people to be more kind. And I can see that the way that the world is headed, we just got to be more embodying pure love and pure wisdom, period. That doesn't mean shame the shadow. That means integrate the shadow. That means see and feel the shadow and face it, and then, I mean, what does it say? I love that quote of the something, to reach heaven the roots must go into hell or something. um and there's the yin yang. I mean, that is such a simple portrayal of light and dark coexisting. And how are we going? I don't know, there's this feeling of fake light, fake spirituality that is pretending to be something authentic or pretending to be something enlightened and not actually sitting with the humanness or the shadow of life. And that to me is unattractive. That to me is something I'm starting to say more and more. I'm not really that interested, and that's okay, to each person their own. It doesn't. And this is another thing that I feel is fundamental when it comes to the evolution of our species, and my own experience is, if we feel that there is only one perspective on a given matter, this is very egoic and very limited thinking. We need to start to really normalize thinking out of the box. We need to normalize the power of infinite perspectives. When people get into an argument, let's put two people in an argument. This person wants this person to believe that they are right. Wait, no, my perspective is right. I want you. And so there's this like magnetizing energy. Like, I want you to come over to my side. No, I want you to come over to my side. What if there's two truths in that moment? And there's another objective truth. Both perspectives, both people have a different understanding of what happened, a different feeling or a different experience of what happened, if we're talking just about a regular argument, right? And then there's the objective truth. If I had a third hand, that would be this one. And the objective truth would be kind of watching over these two truths, battling it out, but really you're you and you're you, and then, yeah, that is okay. And even in your own self, if you're having an argument with one person, you better believe that you're not just having an argument with that person. You're having an argument with these different parts of you. Because there's the person who's like, and this happens on a regular basis, doesn't it? Don't you have like, oh my gosh, I want to do this thing. Oh, you shouldn't do that thing. Oh, I want to go there. No, you shouldn't go there. There's so many different perspectives within ourselves. And the archetypes, to me, is a really fun way to experience the different perspectives that exist within us. So that is going to be a mind meander, let's call it, for now. And yeah, I guess the point of this is for you to get to know me better and just feel me better, because I want to just share more. And this is another reason why I started on posting on social media, is because I feel the more that I share with other people, I feel that I can refine my own position. Even if you talk to someone that has a complete opposite. So we were talking about arguments before. Now we'll just talk about two different perspectives. And there's not necessarily an argument, but they're just different. And people are admitting, oh yeah, you think this and you think that, and you have a different standpoint. So you can either have an argument or you can have a debate, and you can say, this is what I think. And then the person's like, this is what I think. And then you might be like, wait, but what about this? And then that person then changes the way that they feel about that thing because they have new information. And so you're with a debate, you're able to sharpen your intellect because you defend your position, and the rules of having a good debate, you should be open. And I use should in this case to illustrate the stance in order to intellectually evolve. That's just it. Are you having a debate to be right, or are you having a debate to intellectually evolve? Which then you have to recognize that the existence of multiple perspectives is it's just a thing. It's just something that happens. Oh my goodness. I'm feeling like this is starting to get a little more rambly than sensical, although maybe this whole thing is rambly. So we're going to leave it there for now, and this is just what feels important to me. Okay, last thing. Sorry. Last thing, I remember watching the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this movie blew my freaking mind. And I remember just finishing the movie and I was in tears, and I was just had my mouth dropped, my jaw was dropped, right? Just what was that? Because I felt that that movie really spoke to me, and I felt that there is something within us that is able to access different dimensions of who we are. And it felt that that movie was created specifically for me. It was crazy. And Interdimensional Creators, which is this new program that I'm launching, is largely inspired by Everything Everywhere All at Once, and exploring the way in which we access different dimensions of our being. Now I'm watching this movie called Colossal with Anne Hathaway, and it's blowing my mind. It feels that it's another movie that was made just for me. And we'll see how it ends, because let's see, how much time do I have left? 38 minutes. Okay. It just feels that the shadow versions of who we are affect in ways we wouldn't admit. And this is another reason why, because eventually, before I started working on the program Interdimensional Creators, I had this idea of interdimensional comedians. And the idea was just comedy, comedy, comedy. And just that was a big center point. And part of that movement was to create little skits with each other to kind of really see different parts of the human experience in a farce, in a parody kind of way, and create a whole new art form through this movement. And so maybe that will still happen through me, or I don't know. But I love movies. I've always loved movies and TV series because it's a chance to really awaken the imagination, which I said earlier. Did I say earlier? I freaking love the imagination. I did say that earlier, but it may be in a different video. I love the imagination so much, and movies, TV series take you to that different place, right? I used to love books, and I still love books, but I just feel I haven't connected with a really good book that drew me in a long time. I don't know, they don't write them like the way they used to. I loved The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings stuff, and I loved Harry Potter. I was really into Animorphs. Does anyone remember that? That was such a unique Imaginarium. So then in Interdimensional Creators, we're talking about Imaginariums, which is a place in your imagination. So the imagination is a whole shebang, and Imaginariums are just different worlds. And so when we're talking about these different worlds and then creating our own, we are offering almost as though a film director, right, or a movie, a TV series offers this different world for you to then enter into. And then, I don't know if this happened to you, but sometimes you'll have a dream or you'll fantasize about being in that world that they created. I mean, I always wanted to be in Harry Potter's world growing up and be someone who was very close to Harry Potter / I even imagined myself as Harry Potter. Fuck it. Anyway, what if you started creating little movies in your head? We're all using our imagination all the time, and it is a powerful tool. And what if you became your own director, your actor, your screenwriter, and you really just decided, okay, actually it's time to engage with my life in a really different way. And I just want to start offering that opportunity to people. And I just want to start offering that portal of, like I had a session with someone the other day, and I said, what if this session is the thing that then ends, severs the connection that you have with this part of yourself that is subconsciously pulling energy away from you. I mean, they were they were opening up about, just some really deep stuff. And anyway, I won't go into it because now I revealed the gender, and I don't know. I don't like to, I had to figure out a way to. Anyway, the point of this part was I had a conversation with someone who I told them in the session, what if this session is once and for all this part of you that you're talking about that is sucking your life force? What if this is it? What if this is it? And I didn't mean that from an egoic place, like I can help you do that. I meant, what if? Can you connect with that part of you that feels that you actually don't need this story anymore to live? And we had such a transformational session just by asking that question, what if this is it? And I would just even offer that to other coaches to do with their clients, just these what ifs, and just helping people to start to open that door of possibility to really step into the other version of themselves where their shadow or their non-integrated archetypes no longer run the show. Period. What if, and yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. Mwah.